It was reported, albeit not confirmed last weekend, that Duke associate head coach Jay Lucas will be the next head coach at Miami. The timing was awkward, to say the least, as the Blue Devils could still have another 6 weeks left in their season, and they traveled to Miami to face the Hurricanes just a few days later. To help me break down what this could mean for both programs, we welcome in Eric Bossi. And Ebos, let's start here. What is it about Jay Lucas that at only 35 years of age makes him such a good candidate for an ACC opening?
I think we need to kind of go back to the beginning with Jay for people who don't know his background. He comes from a basketball family. His father, John Lucas, was a great player in college and the pros, and obviously went on to be an NBA coach for a long time. His brother, John Lucas III, was a good player in college and played in the NBA for a while. So this is a kid who's been immersed, or not a kid, a man who's been immersed in basketball his entire life at the highest level. In 2007, Jay himself was a McDonald's All-American before playing at Florida and Texas. Then he worked his way up through the admin at Texas, was an assistant at Texas, an assistant at Kentucky, an assistant at Duke. So yes, he's relatively on the young side, but he has a lot more basketball experience than you might expect from a typical 35, 36-year-old who hasn't yet been a head coach. And that's before we get into talking about his recruiting prowess, which I'm sure is going to be a big part of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, it is going to be a big part of what we're talking about here today. Let's talk specifics in terms of what he has done at Duke. And you are right, he is 36 years old. I was trying to save him a year. Duke has the #1 recruiting class in the country, and they have been a recruiting power since John Shire took over. But I think the circumstances around Jay Lucas's hire are so interesting because remember, it was when Nolan Smith left Duke's staff to go to Louisville that John Shire, it looked like there was a chink in the armor. And then what did he do? He went and got Jay Lucas away from John Calipari in Kentucky, and that was considered a huge coup coming into his first season. Talk to me about what Jay has done from a recruiting perspective since he has joined the Blue Devil staff.
Yeah, of course it was a huge coup because at Kentucky it landed players like Shaden Sharp, Cason Wallace, Ty Washington. So you knew he was going from one recruiting powerhouse to another, and he's continued that at Duke. You look at the floor right now, you've got Kaman Malawach, Con Kneppel, and of course Cooper Flagg, potential player of the year. Jay played a pivotal role in recruiting those guys, and now you talk about their #1 class. You've got Cameron and Caden Boozer. Jay was a lead on them. You've got Shelton Henderson, who went to the same high school that Jay went to in Houston, Bel Air, and played for his family's summer program, the UYBL, JL3. He's a big cog in those recruitments. So clearly this is a guy whose recruiting chops speak for themselves at this point.
All right, that begs the question, and I don't want to be too speculative here, but the industry is wondering and people are wondering, what does this mean for Duke's recruiting class? Now, you said he was the lead recruiter for the Boozer Twins. It is also very well known that the Boozer Twins' decision came down to Miami and Duke. So this is ironic, perhaps, to say the least. There is going to be speculation about what this could mean to the Boozers, unfortunately, until those two come out and say, hey, we're doing this or we're doing that. As for the time being, they are committed to Duke. They are signed with Duke, and we are going to treat them as such. But I think the important thing here is to know that there is a lot of speculation running rampant about what this could mean for the Boozers, what it could mean for Shelton Henderson, and we're just not going to have answers to those questions for quite some time because, as we said, Duke's still got a long way to go. I mean, they are a very legit national championship contender. They could be playing basketball for another 6 weeks, so this is an announcement that isn't going to be finalized for a long, long time, but there are growing whispers and people wondering if this could change anything for the Boozers. Only time will tell, and we will report it when we have something tangible to report. Bossi, let me ask you about what this could mean for Miami's recruiting efforts beyond anyone who's already committed anywhere else. What do we know about the types of players that Jay may be able to attract, whether it's specific pipelines, parts of the country? What can we expect the Hurricanes to be from a recruiting standpoint under Jay Lucas?
Yeah, well, I think you can expect him to recruit really well and to continue to do what he's done best, and that's recruit pros. Now, obviously, like any first-year head coach, there's going to be questions about, well, he's only been assistant, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. But he's proven he's going to go to his home state of Texas. He's going to take players out of the state of Texas. He's recruited Miami already with the Boozers, so he's done that. He's also shown that he's growing as an international recruiter and a guy who's got to he's respected there. And just as importantly for Jay or any new coach coming into Miami is the resources are going to be there from an NIL standpoint. And someone like Jay, if he does get the job, he's coming from a place of pretty good NIL at Duke. So he knows the intricacies of how to work in that world and what to get done. So if he is indeed the guy that gets hired at Miami sometime here in the next month, 6 weeks, whatever it may be, I think he's going to be equipped to continue to recruit at a high level. The resources for him to continue to recruit at a high level are there, and then we should expect nothing but excellence from him on the recruiting trail.
And let me say this, if I'm Jay Lucas and I know that I am a prime candidate for a number of top openings, I don't take a job unless I am very confident that there is a robust NIL commitment behind the program. We saw the impact of NIL on Miami's program a couple of years ago when they made that Final Four run. So I would expect there to be plenty of resources for him to rebuild a contending power in the ACC. E-Boss, as always, thank you for your expertise. You can find much more of Bossy's work along with the entire 24/7 Sports team over on 247sports.com. We've got wall-to-wall team coverage, recruiting rankings, and transfer portal updates.